Just in prison, I got introduced to stocks. White guy told me this: wealthy people invest in stocks, they start a business, and then they buy real estate. You do those 3 things, your life will change. Mm-hmm. So the rest of my 10 years, I dedicated myself to like, I just gotta learn how to play it. Started dedicating myself to reading, and I was like, damn, like this shit different. I see a bunch of white men making a whole lot of money. Like, why have I never been taught this? Like, why we never taught this? Mm-hmm. Just coming back home from prison, Mike Tyson said, everybody got a plan till they get punched in the face. So I got back home, I got this idea, I see it, but how do I get money? Right? I get back in the streets, that's what I know how to do. Like, this is what I know how to do. This is my environment. Mm-hmm. No matter what I know, I gotta get money. So I get back in the streets, man, and just in that whole process, I'm like, all right, cool, this is what it is. In my mind, I'm gonna just use my hustle money to invest in the stock market. Like, this, how I'm thinking it's gonna work. Kinda didn't go that way. And then I just, like, all right, let me do something then. So I just started reading it again. I always was a smart dude. So I'm like, all right, let me just try it then. So I started really getting into it. Like, I see why they don't teach us this. This shit powerful. 70% of everything that we use and consume with our money is on the stock market. Mm-hmm. Like, everything. It makes sense to me now. Like, even the brands that we wear.
So you didn't go to school or nothing? You just read material?
I just read.
What were some of the books you read?
So I'm gonna lie, the first thing I read was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And the reason why was because it wasn't actually an investment book, it was a mindset shift. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that have to happen to us in the street is we gotta start looking at money different, right? So a lot of times with me, what happened with me was I stopped looking at money as something I needed, and I started saying, yo, what I really want is the time. Most people, the biggest complaint you'll have is, I don't have enough time. So my thing was, let me start using the money to buy back more of my time. The more time I have, I can find ways to create more money. If I can create more money, I can buy more time. And then ultimately, I have the freedom that I want. See, we think we got freedom right now, but we don't really have it, right? You don't have freedom till you're able to do the things you want to do, spend time with the people you want to do. Even if you don't want to do shit, you got the freedom to say, I don't want to do shit, right? So I was like, I need to do that. So I just started learning how to analyze businesses. Anything by Warren Buffett, anything by Peter Lynch. I started reading them books. Don't get me wrong, it's boring as shit, right? But I started understanding, like, okay, if they can do it, I damn sure can do it. Mm-hmm. Right? They ain't no better than me. They men like me. The only difference was they had access to knowledge. Remember, at one time, it was like illegal for us to read.
That's right.
Right? It's illegal for us to read. It's a reason why it's illegal for us to read, because once you start reading, you get exposed to something different. If I get exposed to something different, I can start seeing the world different. If I can start seeing the world different, now I can have what's called financial identity, financial understanding. I can start saying, yo, this is what my money is worth. Mm-hmm. This is what my money can do for me. I ain't never know that. Only thing I knew was I can work for money, and that's it. Mm-hmm. If that's the only way I know how to make money, I'm limiting myself.
That's right.
I'm limiting myself.
Yeah.
Right? So Wall Street is this big old machine that prints money every day, all day. I just gotta know how to operate the machine. If I learn how to operate the machine, I got a job forever. And the job is just to produce freedom for myself. And then let my daughter now start inheriting freedom. So my daughter, 5 years old now, she got 6 figures invested. I've been investing since she was 1. Like, let's normalize that.
Word.
All right, Stank, you wanna go to college? Cool. You ain't gotta go in debt to go. Because I've been investing for you since you was 2. You'll be a millionaire before you're 15. That's the goal. To give her freedom, not just money, but give her freedom to say, okay, how many 15-year-olds we know, man, you can't do this because you got to help mama raise the kids, or you got to get this job to help mama pay bills. You can go to college and have that experience if you want to go. But if not, you can be an investor. Most of the people we know is, if I can't play ball or I can't rap, I'm going to just be a hustler. Because everybody who I see go to work, nothing against nobody going to work, but everybody who I knew that went to work was struggling. I don't want to struggle, man. I don't want normalized struggling. How do I do that? I start learning how to be an investor. That shit unlock all the doors you need to unlock. You know,
I think it's great, especially for your daughter, that you started a bank account. They've done studies that show that when kids have a bank account at an early age, they tend to be way better with money later on in life. And that's something that people need to focus on, like explaining to your kids how money works, making sure that they know they have a bank account. And I think even with so many apps and technology today, it does make it a lot more accessible for people, especially younger people.
Nah, that's a fact. So for me, my daughter doesn't even have a bank account. She got what's called a custodial account, but that's smart, ye. So when we look at like banks, like we understand that banks don't necessarily work in our favor, right? So banks only give us 0.05% interest on the money we have there. Well, we can get 8% just by putting our money in the index fund. So why would I just sit my money in the bank and let the bank make all the money? Because all they're gonna do is invest the money for you. So they now operating as the plug. They operate now as the man who, I'm gonna front you this, I'm gonna make my money, I'm gonna take the cut, I'm gonna give you just enough to keep coming back. I wanna go to the plug. Who is the plug? The stock market, right? And so once I understood the fundamentals of like, the most important thing too is we don't understand how money works. That's a whole different language in its own. Most important financial decision you'll ever make is how much of your paycheck you're gonna get to work for you. It's the most important decision.
Mm-hmm.
How much of your income you're gonna turn into capital to turn that capital into wealth. And turning it into capital is just saying, this is money I'm gonna use to invest. It's a simple decision, right? So we gotta start learning how to do more with less so I can get the more, be abundant in the future. If we don't prepare for tomorrow today, when tomorrow comes, we'll be no better than we were the day before. One of the things people always say is, why don't they teach us this in school? Right, so just let's think about this. Wealthy people don't make wealthy people rich. They give wealthy people ideas so that poor people can make them rich. So they can make us better consumers.
Mm-hmm.
So the lion is at the top of the food chain game. The lion will never tell the zebra, the giraffe, or the water buffalo how to get away. If he did, how would he eat?
Mm-hmm.
Financial predators, financial preys. You gotta now transition to being a financial predator, right? And the transition is information. Like, this machine ain't going nowhere. We just gotta learn how to play it.